we'll start with Mediclinic International, which is South Africa's biggest private hospital group by value. It's controlled by Remgro.
Indeed. So founded under the auspices of the Remgro Group, built up from its base in the Cape, now a global player because they have bought their way into Switzerland about a decade ago. They've got a big business in the United Arab Emirates and most recently buying 30% roughly of a UK hospital group. So really going global.
Market cap here, 104.3 billion rand, PE of 22.5, dividend yield of 0.98%. If you're looking for hospital exposure in South Africa, is Mediclinic a sure bet?
It has been quite a good darling for us. I think the share has gone through bad times recently since the acquisition of their UK business. It peaked at about 130 rand a share and came down below 100. Currently posted about 108 rand per share. So certainly, I think they have been on an acquisition program growth path. The dividend yield tells the story, just under 1%. PE slightly above the market at 22 times. So certainly, I think for us, you would rather pick it up at these levels, but I don't see it running away quite soon.
Paul, there's the share price graph on the screen.
Yeah, so we liked it, we've loved it, we've held it in our portfolios. It galloped all the way up to 130 there, and it's taken a bit of a breather since then. I think it's twofold. It's a concern about the South African market and where that was going exactly. It seemed a little bit mature. Then it's also the Swiss business had results that were slightly less stellar than people might have hoped. And then you add into that the somewhat aggressive move to buy into Spire and to raise money for our debt issue. Debit issue, what do you call it? Rights issue.
Joseph made the point that this is potentially a good time to accumulate on Mediclinic, although he doesn't think it's going to shoot the lights out anytime soon.
No, I think it is going to shoot the lights out, and it is definitely a good time to be acquiring them.
Is it going to shoot the lights out, Joseph?
Or it is a buy or no model, but my belief is that they need to bed down some of their acquisitions in terms of Spire in the UK, and certainly in SA, they're not as prominent as Netcare. So that's why possibly they've been struggling, but certainly they have a solid business model, but they're not going to shoot their lights out this
Why,
year.
Paul, are they going to shoot the lights out in your
Well,
book?
look, it's leads and lags. This is a fabulous industry with great underlying fundamentals, lots of growth, lots of scope because of the universality of the desire in rich countries and poor countries to have better healthcare solutions. So there's more insurance around. I think they're going to continue to do well. The question really is, does the share price get a little ahead of itself, then pull back? It's just the sort of normal waves.
But it's a solid position in our portfolio. We're not going to eliminate it anytime soon. And if we had the cash, we would accumulate.
And we have been accumulating because, remember, we followed our rights in the rights issue. So it's interesting, South African companies using rights issues quite often to do these internationalization deals, which is fine. That means you're taking rands and you're buying more international businesses through these channels. It would be more conventional for large corporates on a global basis to use debt to do these deals, but our companies...
Hot or not, Joseph?
For the revenue and headline earnings per share all grew roughly about 15-16%. So despite the fact that I don't believe it's going to shoot the lights out, it's still a buy for us. So it's hot.
It's a buy for Joseph. Hot, yeah. It's a hot.
We'll have to watch the currency issues because remember it's reporting in rands. The Swiss franc was a little bit of a wobbler last year. But now it's got UK pound earnings, and it also has, I don't know, whatever currency, dirhams or something they use in the United Arab Emirates.
It is dirhams in the UAE, dirhams, absolutely.
I don't know what that's doing to the rand, but I think the mix of foreign earnings relative to South African earnings is going to grow, obviously, in share for the US, outside Europe thing. And so that's a plus, because we know that at 13 plus to the dollar and all those other currencies, that's likely to be a net contributor.
So you're going to give it a very firm hot, I take
I like it. I think it's a good time to be acquiring. And I'm not saying it's necessarily going to fly up in this day or next week or even, the rest of the year, but it's certainly one you want in your portfolio.